Hi love, welcome to What's Tea. I am Tandy and I'm your hostess for today's video. I wanted to talk about setting healthy boundaries, what that can look like, and I also wanted to share my own personal lived experiences in the hopes that somebody can relate. Now, if this is a topic that resonates, please do share your own personal experiences in the comment section down below, and I hope that this space will bring about healing and growth for the both of us. I grew up in a beautiful country called Zimbabwe where socially and culturally we are raised to never speak back to elders. This is my own personal experience and I'm sure many Zimbabweans can also relate to this. But the older that I get, and because I've lived in so many countries and experienced so many different cultures, I've realized that it's very healthy to have emotional intelligence, to understand the person that you're talking to so that you can know how to navigate that space. For example, I'm not supposed to speak back to an elder, especially my loved ones. It's considered a sign of like grave disrespect. You can never do that. But if you also want to set healthy boundaries, I think it's healthy to find a place and a time for it, honestly speaking. It's very, very good to also watch your tone and how you deliver. I think that's very, very helpful and useful information for anybody who may have walked through this phase and you don't know how to navigate those difficult conversations. And also another special thing that I find is that if you have somebody that you equally respect, who has a good relationship with the person that you want to set healthy boundaries with, you can also invite them into the conversation. They can be a mediator for your conversation. That also is very, very helpful. Trust me, I had my days where I was whiling out in my youth, and I had situations where you'd have a family meeting, but really and truly the other person that was involved in the situation would just be a mediator speaking on my behalf because, culturally, that's the appropriate thing to do. I used to associate setting boundaries with being rude and distant. Like I mentioned, culturally, that's just how I was socialized. And also being a Black woman is just very, very hard. You're always expected to be meek, to put everybody's needs above your own. From where I'm from, at least. I'm not going to speak for every single Black woman out there, but these are my own personal lived experiences. It was just very difficult trying to navigate all of that, balancing my own feelings and also seeing where everybody else is at. I am an empath. That is one thing that I've realized about myself. I realized this at a very young age that I am deeply empathetic about everybody else's feelings, and this has come to be detrimental even to my own well-being because, like I mentioned, I'm always thinking, how are they going to feel if I say this, even, putting aside my own feelings. I struggled deeply with saying no. I was a serious people pleaser. I could not say no. If you asked me something, even if I was tired, I would be willing to help. Simply because I'm like, okay, this person came to me. They want me to show up for them. But again, if it's going to cost me my own mental health, my own physical well-being, I just don't want to do it. That's just tea. That's just it. Now that I'm older and wiser, I'm just like, no, me first. Okay. That sounds so narcissistic, but you get what I mean. I want to also balance my own needs, setting my own healthy boundaries, because if you love and respect me just as much as I love and respect you, of course, we're never going to give the same levels of love and respect, but you get what I mean. I like it when people reciprocate. There we go. We got it. Finally got it. I had to give myself that honest pep talk that, hey, sometimes if you're saying yes, not sometimes, if you're saying yes when you actually mean to say no, it is a form of self-betrayal. It's not a form of self-love to do that. You are hurting your own feelings. And so I had to just learn to put myself out there and to just put my heart out, because I always wear my heart on my sleeve. I learned that, setting boundaries is a form of self-respect, self-love, and I'm just in that era. I just want simple things like being loved on, being respected, being trusted, just as much as I love, trust, and respect, In the unfortunate event that somebody oversteps your boundaries, even after you have clearly stipulated them and you have laid them out in a respectful manner, because, we're all human, make mistakes, and sometimes it might not even be a mistake. They just might be narcissistic and their own life path, life journey. It's very difficult to bring healing to yourself and to come to that realization that, hey, I deserve the best. I deserve better. I realized that I needed to do deeper inner work not just like lighting candles, because I love doing that. I love a good candle, child. Whenever I walk into a store, you will find me in the candle section. Tea, period. So yeah, it's not just, doing skincare, lighting candles, because this is my form of self-care. It is doing that inner work, being honest with yourself that, hey, this is a bit messed up, not even a bit, this is extremely messed up. This person, I trusted them to protect my feelings, but they did not. They fell short in that area. And you just have to be honest with yourself, find healthy ways to, continue setting those healthy boundaries. Eventually, I hope, it is my hope that at least they have that little bit of empathy in them, that they will reach that point where, we'll reach a conclusion where everybody's needs are met. Now, you are not perfect. I've had to tell myself this several times, that sometimes I may have been the toxic one in a situation. Like I mentioned, I'm not perfect. I'm human. It's very hard to admit that, but the best apology that you can give somebody is changed behavior. Let's say somebody set healthy boundaries and you unfortunately did not, you broke them. You broke their trust. It's okay. It's even better when you change your behavior and you try to provide them with what their needs are, right? Because to love somebody is to respect them. To love somebody is to care for what they're saying and what they wish from you. So this can look like in a romantic relationship, or even, parents, siblings, friendships even, this goes in different areas because it's all part of the human experience. Healing is going to be very difficult. It's not going to be easy. It's not even going to be pretty. Sometimes you might need to just ugly cry. Sometimes you might need to climb up a mountain and just scream at the top of your lungs, So again, after all of that has happened, healing does indeed bring peace, because you're not carrying all this emotional burden to yourself. You shouldn't force things. You shouldn't rush it. Take your time, because peace is soft. Peace is gentle. It's steady. It's progressive. It's not going to be linear. It's going to look differently on each day. So again, just give yourself some grace and remember that healing takes time. I have this deep fear of being alone. I do not like being in the dark. I do not like being alone with my thoughts for an extended period of time. But that has since changed, since I became older, since I became a mom. Now I actually value my space, going out on solo dates and things of that nature, and just sitting alone and reveling in my silence. I also found myself in relationships that I had no business being in, because I had this insane fear of being alone. But when I met my husband and I experienced what a real and true and healthy love was, and unfortunately he passed away, but now I'm just like, hey, I experienced what real love is, and it's patient, it is kind, it is soft. I do not need to rush into anything because I'm afraid of being alone. If I need to be in a relationship with someone because I'm alone and lonely, that's already a red flag on my part. Like, no, you're not going to be doing that, sweetie. So again, I would fill up my space, my time with, things that I had no business doing. I would be texting people, talking to people that I have no business talking to. Like, I knew that I did not like this person, but because I just was, not okay with being alone, it just extended a longer period of time that I needed to. Now, I've just stopped waiting on people to create that safe space for me, to create a space where I'm happy. I go out and do things on my own. For example, I always used to plan my birthdays out in advance, because I was like, do people actually really love me like that they would go out of their way to make something special for me? But I'm like, hey, I've got my family. They always make a cake for me, or they buy a cake for me on my birthday. That's very, very special. I have to have cake on my birthday. Otherwise, I'm going to be depressed inside. Just big acts of love like that. That's what I center on. And then if I want to have a party, if I want to travel, then that's up to me to create that safe space for myself, So I feel like this has allowed me to just create that independence and self-trust in myself, that, hey, if I am not happy on my own, nothing and nobody is ever going to fill that void. And that's just tea. Thank you so much for spending some time with me in this video today. And just as a reminder, you're not behind or broken if you have not started, setting healthy boundaries for yourself. Everybody's journey is different. Healing takes time. And these three things, which are boundaries, healing, and solitude, are deeply interconnected. You need all three to be able to start, healing and setting those healthy boundaries for yourself, with your loved ones, or in other aspects of life. Choosing yourself definitely does not mean that you're abandoning others. You are simply not abandoning yourself in the process. So I love to leave you all with fluff thoughts in every single one of my videos, where I sit down and just chat and reflect. What is something that you've learned during your healing season that you want to take moving forward? I'm nosy. I want to hear it all. Let's share, let's grow together, let's heal in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you take this with all the love, and I am sending you healing energy your way.